Hey, welcome everybody to the 40 Finance channel. Happy Friday. And unfortunately, it's a red Friday. And if you're like me, you're getting kind of tired of buying the dip and you're waiting for some bounce back. But I guess, all things considered, what's going on in the world today, the most important thing obviously is health and safety. And it's probably not really that surprising that stocks are down with all these pressures that are going on. But it still makes it tough to watch. So just checking in here with you guys, and we're going to look at some stocks today and talk about, what are you buying? Are you still waiting? I've been going all the way down, following the whole knife right into my eyes, just buying, onesie, twosie stocks here and there. I'll do a portfolio update probably next week. But if you're new to the channel, then if you've been following the channel, you know that really my number one easy pick conviction right now is QQQ, just for the long term. Just with so many stocks getting beaten up, and an alternative to trying to pick which one of the FANG names is going to pop up. So I've been doing a lot of Qs, but there's plenty of other deals out there for individual stock pickers, which typically is me, but this is such a wild ride that I've been making it simple. Shout out to Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you. Sniff, how you doing? Lion, good to see you. And Lion asking about how does 2022 finish. I'm in the camp that the back half of the year is very, very promising. Okay, now that's just my opinion. But I see the back half of the year as inflation concerns, not necessarily evaporating, but going down not even slightly, I would say going down significantly, inflation concerns. I see that the fear of interest rates to be over by then. I think we'll fully be into raising interest rates, and people are going to realize that it's not the apocalypse, and we'll get kind of used to those bumps. And then, of course, the supply chain. It can only get better, right? I would say the supply chain can only get better. And even though we've had setbacks, obviously, with the war going on, to be honest, like Russia, Ukraine, they're not huge exporters. There's some oil play in there, but China, United States, those are going to be the big supply chain carriers, and starting to open up ports and getting more workers in the ports. I think that helps quite a bit. So my take anyhow is that the second half of the year looks beautiful. And so that's why I feel so good about buying, even though, every time you buy something, it goes down 3%, the next minute after you press buy. I still think you just have to keep your eye on the back half of the year. And if you're bullish on the back half, like I am, low unemployment, all the things that are positive, then it is a good time to get in. Sniff also says, let's switch over to the market real quick, and then Sniff's got a stock there. You guys probably already know, but just to check in, we're at Russell, just continues to get blasted, minus 2% today. NASDAQ, minus 2%. I've been waiting. I almost bought a couple Q shares today, but I thought I'd wait to see if things melted down in the afternoon, and that appears the direction we're heading. Dow down 1%, S&P just a little bit more than that. You see the monster headline here on Yahoo. Employers added more jobs than expected. Unemployment rate fell to 3.8, so that's good. That's under 4%, which I think has been the hard line here recently in the United States. There's plenty of jobs out there for people. So the question of, recession and how much of your money, how far does it go with inflation? I don't know. I think there's some balancing out factors that as time goes on will be good, certainly in the United States. Huge concern about gas prices. They finally got close to $4 in my neck of the woods, which is Ohio, which is sort of like in the middle of the United States in terms of pricing. We're not high like New York and California. Down in Kentucky, they have a different gas tax. Cincinnati, where I live, is very close to Kentucky, and it's slightly cheaper if you cross the state line over there. But, it's definitely an additional expense. It's not a backbreaker for me. And hopefully, as the year drags on, gas prices will come down because the government will sort of jump in. They have a lot of tools that they can use to bring gas prices down in the short term. And then hopefully with employment opportunity and the opportunity to get a better job that's clearly out there right now, some of the effects of inflation will be offset. That's my bullish, glass half full look at things for the second half of the year. Not everybody feels the same way though, and that's understandable. Okay, so I'm going to type in Sniff's stock WEAV. It says Weave Communications, software platform for small to medium-sized businesses. Looks like an IPO on this chart anyway, 11/12. 21 is when it came out, was 1850. Now you're down to 629. Not covered. Wall Street is covering it a little bit. I haven't dug into this. This is a new one entirely for me. Not going to have a ton of metrics because it's so new. But it's out there. So I only feature it here today because Sniff threw it out, and sometimes it's good to bounce ideas off of each other. And it doesn't have, well, we got some estimates here. So they're on the cusp of profitability, not quite there yet though. And it's only running about 100+ million a year. Let's see what our estimates are. 6 analysts covering potential for 20%-ish growth this year, and then more growth in the out years. So this would be one if you're familiar with it and you've done your research, and you're obviously hoping after a 20% dip that it could bounce back. We'll just have to see. Eduardo, good to see you. Hi there from Brazil. Thanks for joining. Stanley, good to see you. Great jobs report. Lion says yes. Costco earnings. I saw that it was good. Somebody came out. Let's take a look. Oops. Let's get the headline here. Here's the numbers. So GAAP EPS beats by 13 cents. Revenue up 16% year over year, which is incredible. Beats by 390. Shares went up a little bit. They're down right now. Let's get some analysis. This is from the SeekingAlpha news desk. But they do a pretty good job on some quick analysis. My affiliate link for SeekingAlpha is in the description. If anybody is interested in supporting the channel and checking that out, you get a big discount. Let's see what analyst Edward Kelly from Wells Fargo says. Sales were generally known. It's notable that February comps accelerated when compared to 2019 levels as product cost inflation continued to ramp to new highs. Membership also continued to gain. Let's see, costs somewhat better than expected. Overall, the company delivered another good quarter, and we remain overweight. The stock is expensive, but we see no reason for that to change, given it's one of the highest quality companies in consumer. Elsewhere on Wall Street, Telsey Advisory Group raised its price target to $6.15. And during the Costco call, Richard Galanti said the company is considering a membership fee increase, although no final decision. They last raised fees in 2017. Going on those numbers, anytime you're beating 2019, it's good. I think Costco was one of those companies that benefited during the pandemic with shoppers. I don't 100% know that for sure. But anytime they raise the membership fee, people get bullish on that. I've seen it even with like Netflix, depending on what's going on in the market. If you raise fees, especially something like that, that's basically 100% profit, you're going to do well. So Lion, I mean, it looks good to me, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I have doubted this stock. On the record, doubted this stock due to its valuation, but it continues to outperform. If I show you real quick I'm going to go to Yahoo for this one. If you look over time, and I go annual, this forward PE, which has not been updated, right? I don't know what guidance they gave, but let's just assume that this is not correct. How about back in August, they were at 39. You know, historically, they're 25. So that's where I've sort of hung my hat in saying that they're expensive. If we look to 2019, pre-pandemic, you're about 35, and today you're ish 41. But it just depends on, you know, this is based on a consensus EPS estimate, estimate. So, you know, if analysts change this number, then it could come down to the 35s, depending on how they see it. You know, price to sales isn't bad at all. They used to be in the 0.5s, certainly under 1, but you're still at 1.13. So I don't know. And if you ask a guy like Lion, who's been in it for a while, my gosh, how can you argue this 1-year chart? Or how about the 5-year chart? You know, you didn't need COVID for this company to do well, but man, that's just a great looking chart. It has to be certainly one of the top picks in the people who own this in their portfolio. For the record, Morningstar says fair value 447. But look at that. Very few retailers have an economic moat of wide. You just don't see it. You just don't see a moat like that in retail. So shout out to everybody on the Costco train. Gas prices in Canada is $6.50 a gallon. Jeez, don't you guys have like a ton of oil too in Canada? I'm surprised that those prices are so high, but if it's anything like America, you know, there's sort of like, there's the price of gas straight up, and then there's the federal tax on top of it, and then each state has their own little thing, right? So that's why I said in my example that I could drive to Kentucky. I think we talked about this before on the channel. Driving to Kentucky sounds like I'm going far. I'm going basically like 15, 20 minutes away, if that. And Indiana's a little bit farther. That would take probably, to actually cross the border, it would probably take an hour to get across the Indiana border off the top of my head. Needless to say, I end up in Kentucky a lot more than Indiana. I don't know how Indiana's prices are doing. It used to be, I haven't been there in a little while, but Georgia and sometimes Florida would have very cheap gas. But I seem to recall that Georgia had like the cheapest gas, but it could be different now. You never know. 49's good to see you. He got himself a Google today. Hard to argue that. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Google, right? It's like from a fundamental standpoint, if you're looking for the perfect stock, is this not the perfect stock right now? Just on sheer fundamentals, and it's funny, this is a sector relative grade, so ignore the what's it called, this little algorithmic approach, because I'm not sure that it matters. You've got forward PE under 25, right? PEG ratio basically of 1. What else do we got? Price to sales for a tech stock under 10, notably under 10, and if you put it on forward, it's under 6. Price to cash flow 16 times. Sure, there's no dividend, but let's look at the growth side. And this is what's amazing. So all that valuation, there's a lot of companies that have good valuation like this, but they're not doing this. Revenue growth forward plus 24%. EBITDA growth forward plus 27%. What else we have? EPS, diluted EPS growth, 32%. I don't know what to say. And it's one of the, and it's all good, is what I would say. And, you know, it's part of the reason that I'm buying into the Qs. Because this Google is beyond belief right now. We know that over time things can change, but it's got to be one of the top stocks to buy, the best deal on the market, in my opinion. And it's very hard to figure out the upside across FANG names. And let's just, for the sake of FANG, instead of arguing about it, let's include Netflix, NVIDIA, and Tesla. And if you look at all those companies, you know, you could make a pretty good argument that Facebook has the most upside. Now, they have a lot of shit to do to get there, but they have the most optionality, right? Potential if things go well. Then you have, you know, Apple can't be stopped, and their share buybacks, even if they do come into a hurdle, they'll just buy back more shares and fix it. Microsoft, yeah, slow and steady wins the race, and they've got growth as well. Let's just, while I'm here, to look at Microsoft's growth, because it's not bad. Now, that stock's running a historically high, but you still have double across the board. Let's not even go through the whole everything. Double digits, right? Double digits. You pick the metric, they're at double digits. And then I personally, if we're going down FANG, I look at Netflix as a stock that's undervalued. I know that their cash flow is not nearly as strong as their components, but I see it as an easy win, particularly at 370 or wherever they are right now. So then you've got NVIDIA. Who wants to bet against NVIDIA? Now, are we getting in NVIDIA now at 225 like some people did 10 years ago? Probably not. But are they going to continue to make gains in market share? Absolutely. So that's why, guys, I threw my hands up in this first half of 2022 and just bought Qs. Because we're starting to get in this point where there's a lot of intriguing things. I don't have enough money to get substantial shares of Facebook, Google, Netflix, Microsoft, right? So I did the next best thing. And then, wow, shucks, my train of thought. Oh, well, I missed it. Sorry. I did skip over somebody's question I want to get. Oh, I remember it now. So with Google, if somehow, some way, at this, you know, 4.9 bought a share today, which he should be celebrating, you know, could you cobble together 10, or it's probably more than that, but could you cobble together $12,000, $13,000, buy 5 shares today, and then in July, when the split happens, which is 20-1, you'll get 100 shares. Now, the split still has to be approved, and I realize that that's a back-ass way of doing it, but it's interesting, right? And if you're another way to look at it, instead of putting $13,000 some odd dollars worth of pressure on yourself, is your 4.9s today, you bought your stock of Google and maybe got 1 or 2 other shares. You just bought 20 shares, right? From a mathematical standpoint at the end of January. So if you've ever wanted to do covered calls and trying to make a dividend out of Google, you know, he's only got 80 shares left if he doesn't already own 100 shares as it is. So Google is very intriguing, and you can assume, I can't imagine any scenario where we're all still alive that Google isn't $3,000 by the end of the year. It would just have to be, I mean, we would have to see some bad things going on in the world. Then the stock market would probably be the least of our concerns. All right, what else is going on? Stanley says, with the announcement of the interest rate hike, 25 basis point, do you think market is baked in? I don't think, no. I think we are fine with the 25 basis point, and I'll even make the argument that prior to some of the headlines being so bad with the war, when Powell was initially speaking and throughout the 25 basis point thing and how he's basically supports it, the market had an up day or an up stretch. I don't know if it finished up. I think if my side of the coin is it's a long overdue and there's a point where you have to do what's right for the country and stop worrying about the reaction to it. I'm excited. I don't even actually care what happens after the hike officially takes place. Just get me out of zero so we can stop talking about it. We've been talking about this for 18 months probably, you know? And I think that it's turned into a taboo topic that everybody gets so upset about. Just do it and be done, and let's move on to other things. You can't stay in this environment forever. And we looked at several things in this channel about rising interest rates environment, which most recently happened approximately 2016 through 2019. Stock market did fine. The stock market is about earnings and sales, sales and earnings, earnings and sales. Pick companies that are going to do well in there, and you're fine, right? My 2 cents anyhow. All right, Lion says Alberta, this is back on Canadians' ridiculous gas prices. Alberta has a huge oil reserve, but our government is strangling them. We don't have a refinery. Okay, so you ship it out and bring it back. That's crazy. Biden screwed us when he got in. He canceled the Keystone Pipeline to please tree huggers. He approved Nordstrom in the EU. I got you now. So that's the one part, and I'm not an oil guy. I mean, you know, I don't follow the industry very closely, but I knew that Canada has millions and millions of gallons of oil to be tapped. It sounds like even if they did it today, they don't have a refinery, which is probably a struggle. Trudeau needs, oh boy, Sniff's calling out Trudeau here. Market seems to be going in 2 directions today. Chestad, good to see you. And DH, Pelosi bought PayPal in January. That's good news for me. I don't know, let me flip back over. It was about to go under 100. Let's see if it did it. Yep, there we go. Must mean things have gotten worse since I've been on the call. Well, not that much worse. 2.03. Yeah. So you're now under 100 with PayPal. That surprisingly, as much as bullish as I am on it, particularly at this price, I can't seem to identify what the bottom is. You know, I felt pretty good about 120, disappeared, just like that. So at this point, I'm picking one at a time. Maybe I'll buy one today because it's Friday and it's under $100. But, you know, here we are in PayPal's growth grade and growth metrics. They're not dying. Okay, here's a problem that could continue to fester this year if they don't start doing things right. Year over year, so this is a trailing metric, they lost a little bit of EPS. This year, it's supposed to go up, right? Now, this is, as much as this is projected, they've struggled to deliver this. And it's always some jackass thing about taxes and, one-time things that we got last year and we didn't get them this year. Fix this. And the reason I say that, for me, from a fundamental standpoint, is I need this baseline. I need this EPS to go up so that we can support the price. And then if people buy in, they buy in. But if they don't, and we've got the EPS number, then for all intensive purposes, the floor is, sealed. The bottom is sealed. It's only going to go so far down. But these growth scores are fine. Forward, 18%. Forward EBITDA, 15%. Forward EBITDA growth, it's 15%, right? Free cash flow, I was looking for free cash flow forward. Operating cash flow forward, 17.4%. So, I don't know. For PayPal right now, I just have to look away. It's like a bad accident. I just need to not look at it and time in the market, right? And if you're holding Facebook or something like it, you're probably in the same place as me. Pelosi was acting so weird. Yeah. I'm not a fan. I will say that. And about Pelosi and who in the heck fire uses their seat in the back of a speech that is so much bigger than they are to make animated faces. And and she did it with Trump. She obviously tore things up, and that was her thing. But guess what, lady? The speech is not about you. Okay, the speech is coming from the president. He has the floor. People want to hear what he has to say, and your dumb ass is sitting behind him, smiling and making bunny ears and doing stupid shit. It drives me bananas. It's not any different than all the jokes on the internet about photobombs, right? That's exactly. They shouldn't even pan the camera out that far. We don't need to see what's going on behind. This is about the State of the Union. We don't need to see the idiots that are behind the president. Anyway, Lion also says Bank of Canada raised rates. Okay, yeah. So Bank of Canada raised. Somebody else came out. Maybe it was UK. It's happening though. Let's get over it. Let's move on with our investing lives. DH is asking about Rivian. So I liked it from the Amazon level, particularly when it saved their report. I don't own standalone EV stocks right now. Obviously, in the queues, I have Tesla. There's probably not going to be a lot of valuation to look at here. So I'll say, honestly, no opinion, because I just don't know a lot about it. I liked the concept that Amazon was buying into it just because of all the things that could be done there. So it's on my radar, but I don't know enough about it. All right, what else is going on? Let's take a look at the headlines. Latest news. Roku got somebody to run original programming. NBC Universal moves shows from Hulu to Peacock. Interesting. I don't know what to think of Peacock. I think I also saw the one big one. This is Disney. So Disney coming out with a free version. I don't know if it's free or if it was ad-supported tier. So I don't know if you guys saw this. Disney is on the cusp of going to the 130s if this market activity keeps up. And it's intriguing in the 130s, absolutely. You don't know if ad-supported means 100% free or not, but I'll tell you what I like about ad-supported is my little small cap named Magnite that I've been talking about here lately. They own the inventory, or they lease the inventory for Disney, including Hulu and stuff. So this is a win for Magnite. You wouldn't know it by the stock price, which is, down significantly. We got a little pop this week on 228 to almost $15. I was starting to get excited, but nothing can be sustained in this market from a positive standpoint. Sniff, thank you, sir, or I think sir, but I appreciate the super chat. Get myself a beer with that. Lion, commodities going up like crazy. Don't follow the trend. So that's where I sit. I'll show you guys a stock that I almost bought, and I can't endorse it too much because I don't know about it. Let me find it. It's on my Yahoo watch list. This one. So with commodities in America, they can be very difficult because of this K1 tax filing that you get, which is a big pain in the ass. And the reason it's a big pain in the ass with K1s, they're basically like partnerships, okay? Typically they arrive late, so they'll delay your taxes, and then they also have a different reporting structure in the sense, like you have to run a whole nother schedule to do a K1. So it can be difficult. And I was interested in commodities a month or so ago, and I was like, is there anything that's not K1 and is not like Tyson chicken? And what this is, it's very interesting. PDBC. It's basically basically a pool of options trades where they're taking let's just say oil futures, and they're making trades on the futures, and you're making the spread. Of course, it all assumes that they are successful in executing their trades. They have some sort of strategy, but right now everything in commodities is going up, so the trades are fairly easy, and they dump some serious dividends this year. Let me see if I can pull it up. So here's a 1-year chart. Oh, where is this? Indicators. Maybe? I should know better before I stick you guys in this. Oh, well, the dividend was like $5. So this is what the drop is. Sorry, I should have explained this better. So you got to December of 21, right? The price was $20. This drop was a $5 dividend that they paid out. So if you had 100 shares at $20, 100, what is that, $2,000? Okay, so if you own that on December 1, they were getting so good that they dropped a $5 dividend. You would have got $500 in straight dividend. Now you're back here. I don't know what this drop was. It could have been another dividend. And now you're heading back up. I assume they'll drop another dividend when they get to 20 again. I don't know the ins and outs of it. So take a look at it. I'm in Lion's camp, where I think the ship has sailed on easy commodity wins, and I think you're starting to get into a risk zone. The only thing that is cool about this one, at least as far as I read it, is they go against, they bet on commodity futures across commodities. So don't just, I'm sure oil's the big one, but like, let's just pretend that soybeans market goes hot. They'll flip and they'll trade on that side. So you got to have some trust in there, but you know what? You got to have trust on any stock. So think about it. It's decent. It passed a lot of the tests that that I looked at. I just never chose to get in. All right. Who else we got? Wheat and corn. So that's a good example, Lion, of that. Fund would probably, like, if oil dries up in the sense like the spreads aren't good there, they would switch over to a hot market like wheat or corn. And did you guys hear on talking about the war, like apparently Russia makes a ton of wheat. I would have never guessed. I would have just figured it's cold as shit there and agriculture wouldn't have been a big thing for them. But apparently they're like the #1 European source for wheat. I have no idea how true that is, but I read it somewhere. Discovery getting HBO Max will be nice. Yeah, these streaming stocks are interesting. The hard part for them, and I'll tell you one thing that I get a little fearful about. Let's take Netflix, which is the behemoth, and let's do this in SeekingAlpha. Okay, so we want to, let's get rid of some of these. And we'll do Discovery. Is it AMC? I don't want the, this is the one I want. AMC Networks. We want Paramount. Okay, I'm trying to pick up content plays. Disney, I'm going to remove it because we know the parks is it's not apples to apples due to the parks, right? And if we go down here, do valuation. All right, you see how these other, sorry guys. Here's what I got. I always forget to switch that over. So I put in this comparison. I want to compare Netflix, Discovery, AMC Networks, and Paramount Global. And the purpose of doing this is to show you what I think is the big risk of all these companies is they can't get out of this valuation range into growth. All right, so let's P non-GAAP. You know, Netflix is at 32x, but all these guys cannot, I mean, this 13 on Paramount is pretty darn high. Gap forward, you got 23 on Discovery, AMC. So like AMC, you know, that's pretty low PE, but it can be tricky because of the growth rates are not as strong. People just don't see them as strong growers. We should have some growth rates down here. So Netflix, remember their forward PE was in the 30s. I think we were just up there. Yeah, 30s. And they're going to do 14% this year. Discovery 6, 4, Paramount 7. So if you can't keep up double digits or you can't get to double digits, you're going to be stuck in this zone of lower trading valuations, which I guess makes sense across the stock market, but it's hard for me to get excited about those little sort of content plays because nobody pays up for them. You know, you think about how much people are paying up for, let's just say, cybersecurity. Right now, those stocks are out of the park. But no one seems to want to pay up for, like, Paramount. I mean, theoretically, I think the Paramount, conglomerate is sort of attractive. Like, they have a nice content set. But everybody's getting territorial on where you can share stuff and whatnot. And I can assume that customers are getting tired of joining onesie twosie services. You know, luckily I'm an older guy, so I still keep a cable package, and even though I have Roku TV and all that stuff, because I watch a lot of sports and I don't have time to figure out which one of these 97 apps has a football game on it, right? I just want to go right to it. But you got to wonder when America starts getting tired of having to buy Paramount, and I want to watch Walking Dead, so now I got to buy AMC for $7, and then Discovery. I don't know. That world is going to be interesting. Okay, Sniff, I got you right. You're a sir. Thank you. Didn't want to offend anyone. Lion identifies as Michael Jackson, which is crazy. And on Tuesday, he's Lion pronouns roar, which is, I think, a Katy Perry song even. Everyone, I got to be careful what you guys are saying here. I can't say it. Okay. I can't do those. Can't do them, I'll get in trouble. Lion says, you watch UFC, big fight tomorrow. So I don't. I grew up, so I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s was when, you know, I'd be in middle school, high school kind of thing. And we still had heavyweight boxing, right? So that was Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, all those guys. And, you know, it's like talking to my kids about dead people, you know? I mean, they know who Tyson is. I've made my oldest kid watch like Tyson highlights, and he's a teenager, so he kind of gets it. But the MMA stuff is totally different, and I'm not saying it's bad, and it's certainly more. I would say like viewing friendly in the pace of the action. But for whatever reason, I've just inundated with boxing, which is basically not even around anymore for all intents and purposes, and I never got into MMA. The bigger things that obviously I watch a ton of football, so I've kind of been off of TV here a little bit. I do so much with football. It's just a favorite of mine, college, pro, everything. And now when the script flips, we're coming into playoff time. I don't watch college basketball regular season hardly at all. I'll watch some March Madness. And then I do like hockey, NHL playoffs. And depending on who goes in the NBA playoffs, I'll go. Like, I'm not watching another LeBron, but I think it looks like he's out. And there's some fun teams in the NBA this year that I think the playoffs could be entertaining. But we'll have to see if they let those people get there, right? Because it's always like LeBron gets his hand held. I liked how the Bucks won last year. I thought that was really cool. So that's it. And then the other thing in my personal life that's about to pop up is I do a lot with youth baseball. And this year I have my third grader is in what we call 9U baseball. So there's like you actually pitch and you actually steal and pickoff play, like it's full minus the base paths and how far they are, it's full on baseball. And so I coach that team. I did it with my older son for a long time, and we'll play a lot more than you would figure. We probably play at least 30 games this year at a 9U level, and we're going to go to tournaments and stuff. So I'm about to jump in that world, which is fun. I like it. It's what I do, and it's a fun place. And I will say that every kid deserves a favorite sport, a favorite activity. Doesn't matter if it's piano or art or whatever it is that you like to do with your kids. If you have them, do it, man, because it makes a difference in their life. Like, just to have that thing that they can find success with you in. I think baseball offers a ton of opportunities for individuals to succeed in very small ways, right? You don't have to be David Ortiz or Mike Trout and hit a home run. Like, you can make an incredible catch. You can obviously pitch. You can steal a base, get hit by a pitch. There's tons of ways to like get on and contribute in little kids baseball, and so it's kind of fun watching kids make gains that way, even if they're not the biggest or whatnot. So, sorry on the rant there. Jason, aka avoided Chinese stocks, but ended up with some Ozon shares, Russian ecom. Oh God, and now it's stuck. Suspended trading and I'm stuck. So, Jason, I hope something works out for you, and hopefully it'll still be there whenever they reopen. That's the nightmare that I'm worried about. That's why I don't buy international. It's too much. And you can't see this stuff coming, man. Even if you knew, I think we all anticipated the Russia invasion after a certain point, right? We were all watching the same news stories. I would have never once anticipated that the world united like they did and basically bombing their economy, right? And who knows when that stock market's going to open. So sometimes it's like, yeah, it's obvious, but no, not really. I didn't expect the ruble to go to, 0.001 or wherever it landed. It's just nuts. And at least here in America, I feel like, I may not be able to predict everything, but I know that the government's going to be a little smarter than some of the things you see internationally. What else do we got? Lion loved Tyson and Ali. Yeah, Tyson's funny. I mean, he really, if you saw him in, it's not Bats, I don't think it's called Bachelor Party, but you know what I'm talking about, Hangover. Like, he cracks me up. And he had that, I watched a couple episodes of the cartoon with, like, when he had, like, the pigeons as, like, a Scooby-Doo thing with Mike Tyson. That's pretty funny to watch every now and then. Sniff stopped watching after Duncan retired. Okay, well, that's fair. That Spurs run was incredible, and they were set up so perfectly. I mean, you want to talk about 1 year David Robinson gets hurt, right? Not permanently, just for a year. Spurs suck, get Duncan, and then poof, off from there. Now, they added a ton, like people, that was a big part of it, but they did a good job with like Parker, getting him was huge, and then the other European guy across from him, I can't remember. Anyway, good times. Canadians love NBA. That's surprising. Toronto won, and I couldn't care less. I'm all about UFC, NFL, and NHL. Yeah. I'm not diehard NBA. Like, I don't run. Like, I'm not like, dude, it's Tuesday, game 3. Like, I'm gonna lock out my schedule and watch it. It's more like I've sat down for the night. These playoff games are on. Ideally, it's not tip-off, right? Like all NBA fans who like to check in around the third quarter. But then I'll watch it from there. H. Montero says JD earnings next week. That'll be interesting. The Chinese stocks need some love. Lion has $391. Going to buy 3 PayPal right now. Where are we at right now? How are we looking? Oh, it bounced a little bit. Not necessarily PayPal, but look, the market, we got together, guys, and we pushed the market up a couple points anyway. Visa, by the way, speaking of deals, Visa's about to go under 200. Okay? Unbelievable. And this is due to concerns about travel, right? Travel industry is getting crushed today. I never thought I'd see Visa get back to 190 ever. Prior to this year, it went back to 190, and now we're heading there again if this continues into Monday. Keep Visa on your watch list. They're doing fine. Read about them. They're doing fine. It's been a slow rollback, mostly because of international travel, which is obviously mildly at risk right now. But if you see 190, man, on Visa, if I get anywhere below my cost basis, I will buy more shares of Visa. But right now I'm at 190, and I'm gonna hold and see what happens. Who else we got? You watch NFL Combine? No, I saw, so in Ohio, obviously Ohio State's big. I saw the Olave misreported 40 time. So it came in at like 4.2 something. Everybody's like, it's the best Ohio State receiver's ever done or something like that. And then they changed it. The official was like 4.3 or I don't know what it was. You can find it on Twitter. But it's hilarious because all these Buckeye fans were like dunking on Twitter, like, oh, he's so fast. And then they came back and are actually the real score was 4.3, and it changed every headline that was written about it. It was kind of funny. And I'm a fan. And it's funny, in Ohio Stateville, most people would say they take Garrett Wilson. I'd take Olave all day over Garrett Wilson. Not because Garrett Wilson sucks, but like if you think about how much incredible catches matter in the NFL, right? I feel like Garrett Wilson might be the route runner and maybe just like fundamentally more sound. But how many times has like the OBJ, DK Metcalf, you name it, circus catch, Cooper Kupp, circus catches are the ones that change the game, and that's exactly what Olave can do. Garrett Wilson's probably the probably better for like higher volume, but game changer, I would say, is Olave all day long. Bruce Bowen, holy shit. Now we're talking. We're going way down. All right, Jason, good to see you too. All right, guys, it's 4 o'clock. Lion needs to buy his PayPal. I'm going to head out of here. It was good to see everybody. I did a defense stocks video here before I got on with you, so I'll chop it up and publish it this weekend. Just looking at some high-level metrics across the entire sector. So not just one or two. I tried to cover them all and you know, just share thoughts of what I was seeing. So hope you guys have a good weekend. Thanks for coming out today. We'll see you next week.